Hi, this is Mary, and I am doing a pre recording because I will be traveling tomorrow at our normal reading time. So I'm going to read three chapters and I'll schedule them. I'll figure out how to get them on Facebook and YouTube and so here we go. Now, the next chapter is wait, I'm going to actually, Liam figured out that it was Holly, and he didn't handle the situation in the best way. So now we're going to see if he's able to fix it in these next couple of chapters, or dun dun dun, could it be somebody else that's going to get the tree's magic? We shall see. So here we go. Life before Liam. To say the night was rough would have been an understatement. Holly spent the evening arguing with herself that her life was fine before she met Liam Lane. Besides, the Liam on the screen was much better than the one in person. The one on the screen saved lives. In person, the only way Liam could save someone was if he used his arrogance to chase them away. The more she thought it, the more she knew she was right. And why couldn't she sleep? And why was she rehashing the situation? It wasn't like thinking about it over and over would change the ending. When her feet hit the floor, Holly promised herself that she would have a good day. It was the season for good tidings. She stumbled down the stairs, past the couch where she watched the Hallmark Channel Christmas marathon alone, to the coffee pot. Holly had to do a double take when she saw swirls of red in her mother's oatmeal. Where were the plump raisins her mother mixed in with the brown sugar? Holly sniffed the air as though it would tell her what had changed. What are you eating? Stella says she adds cranberry sauce to her oatmeal. Her mother held up a spoonful for Holly to taste. She said it's the same as adding dried cranberries. It gives a better consistency. Holly shook her head and pulled away from the spoon. I'm not trying anything new until I've had a cup of coffee. She opened the fridge to find decorated to go boxes stacked on the top shelf. The box on the bottom was red with silver scrolling, and the one above it was green with gold glitter stars. Since you couldn't make it, Stella gave me a little bit of everything for you to try. Holly pulled out the box and peeked inside. While Liam was a horse behind, his mother was a gem. I need to thank her. She took out the gingerbread cookie on top and closed the lid. Holly's mom pointed at the cookie with her spoon. Liam packed that one for you. The cookie hit the ground and crumbled into several pieces. Holly picked up the pieces and placed them in the trash bin under the sink. I should have waited to have my coffee. She tried to make her voice sound apologetic. Based on how Liam treated her at the play, she would have bet the sugar crystals were salt flakes meant to make her gag. Shades of the grumpy feeling she had before the Christmas movie rolled in and formed a cloud over her head. What's wrong? Her mother asked. Concern replaced the playful glint she had moments prior. Nothing, Holly lied. Liam Lane ruined her holiday. She was happy hanging out with him. It had been a long time since she had talked to anybody outside of her small circle of friends and family. Then his ego joined the conversation and reminded Holly why she kept to herself. Her mother took a bite of her oatmeal, but kept an eye on Holly while she chewed. She swallowed. Something is bothering you. Her mother was the last person Holly wanted to hear her story. When their father left, it devastated her mother. When Madison's husband left her for a woman 5 years younger than her, their mother took it harder than Madison. She blamed herself. More than once, their mother said, maybe if I'd married someone better than your father, you girls would have chosen someone who deserved you. Holly couldn't fault her mother. It turned out she was just as blind to character flaws as her mother and sister. She sighed and poured herself a cup of coffee. Painting the faces of 30 to elves and 15 fairies takes longer for girls than one would think. Partial truth was better than no truth at all. Her mother raised her brows as she considered what Holly shared. Makes sense. The music teacher has a twitch in her eye for days after the concerts at school. Just around the time Holly was falling in a good mood, her sister stopped by the house. At first, Holly credited the cool weather as the source of the pink in Madison's cheeks. Then she blurted, Mark asked me to go with him for a sleigh ride. The mother clasped their hands together in front of her. How exciting! I'm sure you'll have fun. When will you bring the girls by the house? Both Holly and Madison regarded their mother with curious glances. Her mother's voice rose slightly. What is that for? Madison side spoke to Holly. You live with her. So you know better than me. How long do I have to wait to hear a but? It's never been this long. Holly pulled on her earlobe. Stop it! Her mother waved away their comments. Not all men are buffoons. There are good ones out there. They're a little harder to find. All three of them grinned at each other. Holly was happy for her sister. She had gone beyond the issues her ex husband had created. It was obvious by the way he acted around her that Mark found her attractive. By asking Madison for a date, he had canceled the insults her ex husband used to justify his indiscretion. Holly ran upstairs to her room to get ready for work. She put on her long sleeved black t shirt and red cardigan sweater. The spot where the angel had been seemed naked. Holly rubbed the area where the pin should have been. There were no holes or rips to show that the pin got caught on something and tore away. Her grandmother would have been so disappointed if she were there. Holly took off the sweater and returned it to the closet. It was like a Liam shaped cloud hovered over her. Holly's cheery disposition shrank. She wanted her sister to be happy, but if Mark and Madison grew serious, it would deepen the blooming family friendship. How many family events would Holly have to avoid? Worse, how many would she have to endure? Grumpy from creating situations that might never happen, Holly forced the topic aside and focused on her outfit. She tried on her green scarf with holly and ivy patterns and gagged. Bah humbug was back. Holly shoved the scarf into the back of her drawer and chose a black and white plaid scarf to accent her t-shirt. Nobody cared about her outfit anyway. Holly shoved the scarf in. Oh, wait. When she arrived early for her 1 o'clock shift, except for Rebecca, who was writing in the appointment book, the store was empty. Rebecca glanced up from her writing. Our 1:30 and 2 o'clock appointments canceled. We are free until 3:30. I'm too tired from last night to be upset. Holly set her bag on the floor beside the counter. Both Holly and Rebecca stayed after the play and helped Kristen clean. I'm right there with you. Rebecca picked up her coffee tumbler and took a sip. She shook it and wilted in disappointment. It's empty. I didn't run and get you a refill. The coffee shop was 2 stores away. I still have my coat. Rebecca perked at the suggestion. I'll buy. In a short amount of time, Holly returned with 2 cups of coffee and 2 gingerbread cookies. She left her cup on the counter and went to the back to grab a couple of extra paper towels. When she was back there, she heard the bell from the front door ring. Holly was about to step into the general area when the sound of Liam's voice prompted her to an abrupt stop. She heard the end of the conversation. Liam sounded annoyed when he asked, when will Holly be here? From where she hid, Holly watched the conversation. Rebecca said, let me check, and pretended to look through the appointment book. After flipping through a couple pages, she set her hand on the counter. I'm sorry. I started the calendar for the new year and seem to have lost the one for the last 2 weeks. If you'd like, I can call you later when I find it. It's around here somewhere. Holly had never been so grateful to have Rebecca as a friend. She hadn't had time to tell her about what happened with Liam before the play. Rebecca had been caught up with the kids. Afterward, the parents and stage crew were around them. Eventually, the news would have to get it out to town. Eventually, the news would have got out to the town. For the time being, Holly preferred as few people as possible were privy to the information that she had made a fool of herself and the theater, and the situation blew up in her face. The bell on the door jangled, and Rebecca called to the back of the parlor. The coast is clear. How did you know I didn't want to see him? Holly poked her head through the doorway. Kim told me what happened this morning. Really? Don't you have more interesting things to talk about when I'm not here? Rebecca winced. Welcome to the Life of William Lane Club. She held up her hands to show that was the best response she had to offer. You have to admit, things were pretty good before we became fans. Her friend had offered some steady advice. There was no point in worrying about someone who didn't care about her in the first place. As far as Liam was concerned, Holly was just another groupie. Her real friend would say differently. Holly liked doing things that made other people's lives easier, even when she was in a foul mood. Her priorities focused on making somebody else smile. She looked out at the unlit tree of the town square and sighed. With all that she had in her life, why did she feel like something was missing? That's the next chapter. That's the end of that chapter. Now we're going to the next chapter. Things blow up. Liam interpreted Holly's "I won't be a problem" as a metaphor. Things would be awkward between them, but she would stay out of his space. In her absence, he realized his statement may have come across stronger than the situation required. He texted her, "Where are you?" In a moment of honesty with himself, he admitted that he wanted her there. He wanted her to prove him wrong, that she was the woman in the theater that opened his eyes to the possibility of love coming to him for Christmas. Before their discussion, she would have replied with a smart comment. This was yet another lesson on how small town Montana differed from California. In California, Liam had connections that people wanted to use. One appearance with him launched the careers of several women in California. That wasn't the case in Paradise Hills. Here, he was the youngest of Stella and Marley Lane's four sons. Liam just happened to be a famous actor, too. Holly's lack of response confirmed the change in Liam's environment. His follow up call to Holly went straight to voicemail. The woman aggravated him. He frowned at his phone like it was the device's fault Holly wouldn't respond to Liam's call. The edges of his mind pricked with anger. Nobody had ever blown him off before. If he knew where she lived, Liam would have gone to the house to make amends. He would see her and set things right. At the party, Liam played the part of host, but Holly's absence tapped at the back of his mind. On more than one occasion, someone said something that prompted him to reach for his phone and text her. With his self righteousness burned away, Liam was left to look in the mirror and see a fool. He liked Holly. On more than one occasion, he wished the girl in the sweater was Holly. Yet, when his wish came true, he acted like a diva. If he were Holly, he wouldn't talk to himself either. Liam promised to himself that he would never say anything dismissive to her ever again, and he'd tell her as much when he got her to listen to him. Midway through the evening, he thought he had a good way of making amends. It would begin by sending subtle messages to convey his regret. He recalled that Holly ordered gingerbread cookies after their snow sledding day. In the pantry, his mother had boxes left over from the holiday party at her school. He packed one full of desserts for Susan to take home to Holly. A piece of him withered when Susan took his hand and patted it. "Thank you for being such a good friend to my daughter. She keeps to herself. We were so happy when she opened up to you." Liam's stomach tightened. If Holly's mother knew what he had done, she'd be singing a different tune. From the table at the cafe, Liam watched Holly go into the salon with 2 cups of coffee. He saw that Rebecca was the only other person in the salon. It seemed like the perfect situation. He could talk to Holly for just a moment, or at least ask her to take his call when she ended her workday. Liam strolled into the store like he was a regular customer who arrived for a haircut. Like the other stores on Main Street, strings of lights accented the front window. The interior was tastefully decorated with an accent of red and gold bows. His eyes followed the light that led him to the tree decorated with ornaments of miniature styling tools. Beside it, he saw wooden shelves that displayed a variety of styling products. Ornamental Christmas music played through one of the speakers hidden among the hairspray. He leaned on the counter with one elbow to peek at the schedule. It was blank. Apparently, Rebecca was organizing a calendar for the upcoming year. Short of posting himself outside the salon, there was no way for him to know when Holly finished her shift. He asked, "Is it okay if I talk to Holly for a minute?" They say contrasting personalities make strongest friendships. Holly was quiet and subtle. Rebecca played the role of Holly's gatekeeper, a sarcastic one, too. She blinked hard and fast. "You'd be pleased to know that she is so starstruck she took the day off to go to the theater and watch your movie." When he waved at him in the candy store window, she turned and pretended like she hadn't seen him. Another woman changed her course to form a large arc to walk around him. She glared at Leah before opening the door to enter the hair salon. While Holly may have withheld her opinion of him, her friend spoke loud and clear. The signs were all around him. If he didn't fix things soon, they would escalate into a full blown situation. There wasn't much he could do about Holly until he found someone to act as mediator. Kellen was on shift at the fire department, so Liam couldn't ask him. He could have gone to his brother's Forest Service office, but he didn't want mud caking his wheel wells. Liam was in front of his pickup when his brother Mark called. He skipped the pleasantries and gruffly asked, "Do you want to tell me about something that happened last night?" Liam could tell by the tightness of Mark's voice that things just blew up. There was no point in denying it or trying to make himself come out of the situation a winner. I'm trying to fix it, but she won't talk to me. He smiled at a man who walked by and stared at Liam for a moment before continuing his course. Madison called off our date, Mark huffed. The night prior, Mark invited Madison and the girls to go out for a sleigh ride. Liam was there to see the delight in Madison's face and the relief in his brother's eyes when she said yes. At the time, Liam was pleased. After all that he had been through, it was about time his brother found some happiness. Mark added, she said that she needs to spend more time with Holly. Is Holly that broken up? No. Liam could practically hear Mark's eye roll. Madison's husband left shortly after Holly's father left Susan. When Holly stepped in to support her mother and help Madison take care of her children, her boyfriend used the free time to pick up an additional girlfriend. And this relates to me because when Holly started talking to you, Madison and Susan thought she was okay, that she had come out of her slump. Then Madison heard about your little discussion from the barista instead of Holly. She is worried that she and Susan have not been supportive enough. Is she in a slump? Liam hoped that Holly's refusal to talk to him was her way of expressing heartbreak. He could make her feel better. He'd be the hero, and everything would go back to the way it was before he followed his wrong assumption. No, I don't know. What I do know is I thought Madison and I connected. It is hard to find a woman willing to date a single father. Now, because you think her sister is a stalker, she won't go out with me. A stalker? Liam replayed the conversation in his mind. He never said the word stalker. Rebecca's smart comment about Holly being at the movies made sense. Mark, if you want me to fix this, you have to help me. How about if you don't fix this, I will hurt you, his brother threatened. Unaware of his intentions, Holly tried to help Liam and search for the woman who caught his heart. She set up Liam with several of her friends. Liam's heart burned. The person he was looking for was right there beside him the entire time. He murmured, turnabout is fair play. He glanced at the rows of stores he had passed to decide which one of Holly's friends would repay her good intentions. Eldon from the jewelry store appeared from the candy shop with a pinstripe bag in his hand. The owner of the candy store was the first person Holly introduced him to. Liam rubbed his chin. That's my sign. If he wanted to do things right, he had to go back to the beginning of their story. And that is where I will end because we have I think we have 3 more chapters after this. Yep, we have 3 more chapters, and I will record them or I will read them. Ooh, maybe I'll do something. We'll find out. I'm just excited that we got this done, and I hope you enjoyed the story.